Hi, and welcome to the Property Show. My name is Nancy. This is the show that is sure to give you an in-depth look into the property market, provide you with expert advice, trends, tips, and first-hand information on the hottest properties available. There is something for everyone. Paul and Caroline are looking to buy a house and are wondering whether it is important to engage a real estate agent.
Hey, now that you're ready to buy a home, it seems everybody has information. There are billboards, classifieds, so much information everywhere. Who do we trust? Where do we even begin? Hey. Do you think we need to contact a real estate agent?
I don't know.
Why are you always skeptical about these things? This is a lifetime investment, si mchezo.
It's just that I don't know who to trust. That's all.
Okay. Natakaji.
So you can just go directly to the property owners. We cut out the middleman. We could even save some money.
Between kids, work, and school, do you think we have time to go and look for the owner of the property ama kuangalia agents wa barabara?
Wewe wacha, supposing it saves us some money.
Honey, cheap is expensive, and I believe it's worth the amount of money considering the valuable service this estate agent can offer.
Well, seems like you've already made up your mind. Supposing then we agree to get ourselves an agent. Where do we even begin?
What do you mean?
There's so many agencies out there. Which one do we pick?
Obviously the prominent ones. Those are the people we can rely on. But I believe they're very busy. Do you think they have time for us, kawaida people?
But it also doesn't mean that they'll automatically suit us. Some of these agencies only deal with high-end property. But we can still go out there and look for an agency that will give us what we are looking for.
It's okay. As long as we get a real estate agent, mi niko sawa.
Now, sometimes I think you stress yourself so much about this thing.
I'm building our future, honey. Do you know in some few months to come, you're going to thank me for the decision we made?
I know, I'm not worried. I know you want the best for us. Yes. That's why I love you.
I love you too, but we're still getting the real estate agent, eh?
Okay, you women always win.
Why do you need a real estate agent? Most people's dilemma today is knowing when do you engage a real estate agent. In studio with us is Dr. Ojiambo Oundo, who is a director of Rock Consult Limited. Dr. Oundo will explain to us the importance of a real estate agent. Welcome, Dr. Oundo.
Thank you.
Dr. Oundo, tell us a bit about being an estate agent and what should we expect?
An estate agent, in simple terms, is a professional calling. It's a professional calling to assist investors in real estate to realize the investment value. It is a professional service to ensure that the investment you have made in real estate gives you value. It is a professional service that allows you to start and conclude a real estate investment.
We hear about so many agents today. Everywhere you go, you find to let, for sale, and there's a number there. How do you select an agent?
There are three categories of agents. One, there are the local agents. Secondly, there are those probably agents who deal with some specific types of properties. Then there are the general and the big agents all over who can cut the entire town or the entire country. But the bottom line that whenever you have to select an estate agent, please select somebody either who is experienced in estate agency or somebody who has got a formal firm that is duly registered by the relevant bodies for purpose of practicing real estate agents in Kenya. In Kenya, for that purpose, we have the Estate Agents Registration Board, which is domiciled at the Ministry of Housing and Lands.
We have seen in the past where people have actually advertised in the newspaper and they say this house is for sale or this house is for rental. Then a buyer goes and actually buys the unit or rents the unit, only to find out a few days that he wasn't an agent, he had nothing to do with that property. How would you address that?
The bottom line, the key word here is due diligence. Before you commit yourself, undertake due diligence. You have no choice. And the due diligence can come in the form of one, demand all the paperwork in respect of that property. Demand a copy of the title, demand a copy of the deed plan, demand a copy of the water bills, demand a copy of the electricity bill. Walk into the Ministry of Land, ask them to verify whether this is a genuine title or not. Go to the Nairobi City Council, confirm whether this property is registered for rating purposes. Go to the electricity house, confirm if actually this electricity bill exists. Finally, before you make any commitment, please request the agent to introduce you to the property owner. Once you have always been introduced to the property owner, likewise demand from the property owner to conclusively identify themselves. Copies of IDs, their PIN certificate, and any identification that you can have. Walk to the various civil registration, confirm that indeed this person exists. Match all the papers. Failure to do that, the loss might be impossible to recover.
How do you charge for your services?
The charges are set in the law. In the various statutes, the State Agents Act has got basis on which to charge, but in practice it is a percentage or a ratio of either the sale price or the rental income or the cost of the project. In simple, straightforward, in purpose of letting, we generally take anything around 1 month of rent. When it comes to property management, depending whether it's commercial or residential, the average is 5% of the rent collected every month or annual. For projects management, depending on the scope and the magnitude of the project, the fee may ranges from 1.75% to 3%. So the basis of charging is set in law, but there is always room for negotiation. You can always negotiate and agree.
When buying or selling property, what documents should I expect from an agent?
At the beginning, the first thing, as I said, they will give you some relevant papers in respect of that property. You would expect before anything else is formally given to you, you are given a copy of the title deed, you are given a copy of the deed plan. The deed plan is basically showing you the area of the property and where the dimensions are and what the edges are. They will also give you utility bills. Once you have verified all those things are okay, then the first step in the formal transaction, they'll give you what we call a letter of offer or a letter of intent to enter into transaction with you. So the letter of offer will basically state the broad terms, what you'd expect in a formal agreement. You will review the letter of offer thoroughly, because if you don't, you are making your own mistakes, because the terms in the letter of offer are what are translated finally either in the lease or the sale agreement. So that's the starting point. I would advise that once you have been given that letter of offer, consult your lawyer. Once the broad terms have been agreed, you will sign that letter of offer, and depending on the terms of the letter of offer, you might be required to pay a deposit at the time of signing the letter of offer. In some circumstances, that can be dispensed with. You just have to proceed to the next stage of preparing the sale agreement. So the sale agreement will also be now a more comprehensive document outlining all the terms, obligations, and duties and roles of each party. It's normally based on the Law Society form of sale agreement. Unless there are reasons to deviate, we don't tend to deviate. We stick to that one. Then once you have also agreed and signed, you will then now pay the final fee, final amount of either be purchase or so. Then the documents will be presented to Land's office for documentation until you get the transfer registered in your name. Briefly, that's the process.
Wow! Thank you. That was a real eye-opener. We are taking a short break, and when we come back, Dr. Oundo will take us through what we should expect from an agent. Welcome back to the Property Show. Just before the break, Dr. Aundo was telling us the purpose of a real estate agent.
What else should we expect from a real estate agent?
If you walked into a formal real estate consultancy, expect much more. You would expect they will give you advice. Advice telling you, yes, you might have wished to invest here, but based on the going trends in the market, we believe you are better off investing in this other area. They will also undertake for you structural survey to confirm that the property is strong and suitable for the purposes for your purposes. They will do a physical inspection of the property to confirm that it complies with the requirements of NEMA, public health, safety, health, and all those issues. They will continuously review the investment and tell you you can either add on the investment, leave this investment, or just retain the status quo until things improve so that they can either exit the investment or recapitalize the investment. They are a complete real estate investment advisory, and that's what you should expect.
In a property transaction, let's say maybe sale when you're buying a property or when you're letting the property, at what point does the agent's role end?
The agent's role ends up at the time the property has been transferred to the new owner and the transfer registered at Lands Office, and you have been given a new title and you have been given vacant possession. Then at that particular time, the traditional role of an estate agent ends at that particular point. In a lease, in a letting situation, literally the same applies. At the time the lease has been signed, you have been given possession.
Tell us about the commercial space.
In a commercial space, there are two arrangements. There's an arrangement where the letting agent is also the managing agent. In that circumstances, the relationship does not end. It ends at the time the tenant terminates a lease. But an arrangement where the two are separated for various reasons, then the agent's role ends at the time the tenant has actually taken possession, has settled in the property, and is able to transact or to undertake the business which they intended to use the place.
As we close this segment, what can you tell us?
I basically want to share with the public that two issues. Number one, refusing to pay today for professional service of an estate agent, you are likely to pay much more later in terms of losses. Secondly, please do undertake due diligence before you engage a real estate agent to help you watch through your investment in real estate. Anything else than that, you will shed tears in not very long future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you for teaching us more what we should need to look at. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
At the end of the show, I shall give you a recap of all we have learned on today's show, so don't miss out. Join me now as we visit our hot property of the week.